Hi, thank you for joining for our presentation entitled Accessibility, It's a Work in Progress, a conversation about putting our commitments into action. My name is Adrienne Miel, and I'm the Community Services Coordinator at our center. I also serve as an occupational therapy consultant on a few of our projects.
Hi, I'm Audrey Homan, they, them pronouns, and I coordinate the websites, accessibility, and communications for the Center on Disability and Community Inclusion at the University of Vermont.
I'm Jesse Suter, Executive Director of the Center, and I use he, him pronouns.
Our center is part of the College of Education and Social Services at the University of Vermont. We work to create spaces where people with disabilities and their families are fully included in their homes, schools, and communities. We're home to 34 full-time staff and 31 projects. At this juncture, we'd like to invite you to pause and to think about two questions as we get started. First, what does accessibility mean to you? What is something your center has done for accessibility? One of the goals today is to discuss what all of us are doing to promote accessibility. We'll be sharing a little bit about our journey, and we invite you to reflect a little bit on where you are in your journey.
Thank you for thinking about those questions. Centers around the country may think about accessibility differently, and we know that centers are trying lots of innovative ways to make things better. Our point today is that we're all working to improve accessibility. On the screen is a wheelchair riding icon that shows the figure moving through space with motion lines in the wheels to show movement. This is from the Accessible Icon Project. During this presentation, we will share steps we've taken at our center to improve accessibility, but we don't want to stay focused on us. After we share our recent work, we will open it back up to everyone. We hope that everything we share today helps you. In 2022, we heard concerns from our staff about accessibility. We were surprised because we've been trying to improve things in recent years. On the screen is an icon showing three figures with speech balloons sharing examples of the concerns we heard. The first is, no one really uses alt text. Second, no one's asked for accessibility features, we don't need it. And the third, it's really not something we have time for right now. So we conducted a survey because we wanted to better understand concerns like these. We asked, have you had trainings on accessibility in the past year? And only 16% of our staff said yes. This low number sparked a question for us. If we provide high quality, free, and convenient accessibility training for staff, could we improve both attitudes toward accessibility and the quality of our products? So then we took action. That same year, in 2022, we created some pilot accessibility trainings for our staff. This year, 2023, we've been measuring the results of those trainings. And for the future, 2024 and beyond, we're starting to think about what we can do next, especially asking, can we offer accessibility trainings to people outside the center?
Over the summer, we designed a series of monthly workshops. The workshops were plain language, event accessibility, accessible design and readability, accessible web design, universal design for learning, accessible Word documents, accessible PowerPoint documents, and accessible multimedia. Here's what we had in terms of resources for the project. We had the three of us. As a certified accessibility specialist, I taught 4 of the workshops. Adrienne is fantastic at project management and at data analysis. And Jesse was willing to support the whole pilot project, as well as teaching the PowerPoint workshop. We set aside $1,000 to hire 2 local disability groups to each teach a workshop. The University of Vermont provided us with access to survey software, the Zoom platform, as well as paying for captioning and ASL interpretation. It took about 11 hours to create each workshop. Now, each workshop was flexible and it was inclusive. What that means is we held each workshop on Zoom and we had captioning and ASL interpretation available. Each workshop was offered twice on different days of the week and at different times of the day. Hopefully, this accommodated everyone's schedule. We also made each workshop available afterwards as a captioned video recording. We provided a transcript and the slides used in the workshop. Each workshop was bite-sized. We assumed the audience had little or no knowledge of accessibility when they first arrived at the workshop. We covered only a few topics in each workshop and included lots of examples. We went really slowly and left a lot of time for questions, and we stopped after 45 minutes. Each workshop ended with the same advice. Resist the freak out. Accessibility is hard and it's a process. You're not going to get everything all at once. So choose one thing to work on at a time. Choose one thing to work on for 30 days. You are encouraged to ask all of your questions. All of your questions are valid. There are no unimportant questions. If you are thinking about a question, the odds are really good that somebody else is also thinking about the same question. Don't be afraid to ask for what you need. A lot of times when we say people with disabilities, we ignore the fact that a lot of people on our staff are people with disabilities. So if you are a person with a disability and you notice that work being given to you, resources being given to you aren't accessible to you, or your coworkers are creating work that's not accessible to you, ask for what you need. And finally, the most important point, get feedback on your work from people with disabilities. We made all materials for the workshops available on a website we created. You can find this website at go.uvm.edu/accessibility. On the right-hand side of the slide, there's a screenshot of the front page of the Accessibility Resources website. Here's what happened. At the end of the year, we discovered that 94% of CDCI staff attended at least one workshop.
Overall, we had 42 different staff members, representing 94% of our full-time and part-time staff, attend at least one workshop, and most people attended more than one. Did it change attitudes? At the end of the year, we surveyed our staff to ask if their perceptions had shifted before and after the training series. We asked staff to respond on a 4-point scale, ranging from strongly disagree to strongly agree. The results are presented in bar graphs over the next several slides. The first statement we asked was, I believe accessibility is relevant to my work. Before the training, 0% strongly disagreed or disagreed, 67% reported agree, and 33% reported strongly agree. I believe accessibility is relevant to my work. After the training, 0% responded strongly disagree or disagree, 5% responded agree, and 95% responded strongly agree. So we saw a shift towards more strong agreement in the perception that accessibility is relevant to one's work. I believe accessibility is feasible in my work. Before the training, we had 0% strongly disagree, 19% disagree, 52% agree, and 29% strongly agree. So we saw a little bit more mixed results in the perception of feasibility. I believe accessibility is feasible in my work. After the training. After the training, 0% responded strongly disagree or disagree, 14% responded agree, and 86% responded strongly agree. So again, we see a shift towards more strong agreement in feasibility. Did it change what people do? We also asked staff about implementation. We asked them to respond to the statement, I use accessible design in my work. Before the training, 24% responded strongly disagree, 29% responded disagree, 38% responded agree, and 10% responded strongly agree. So in this case, more than half of our staff responded that they disagreed that they used accessible design in their work. I use accessible design in my work. After the training. After the training, 0% responded strongly disagree, 5% disagree, 29% agree, and 67% strongly agree. What motivates you now? At the beginning of this year, our second year of our push to improve our accessibility practices, we asked staff to reflect on how they were feeling. On this slide, we have a graphic with an outline of 3 people and with 4 comment bubbles around them. The comments are, It's at the heart of disability studies and social justice. To make sure all families understand our materials, I think it's important that we model the behavior we'd like to see in the field and to be the best ally in progress I can be. What are the challenges? On this slide, we have a graphic with an outline of 3 people with 6 comment bubbles. The comments are, there are a lot of things to consider. Not enough time. It feels like accessibility strategies detract from the pizzazz of materials. Not enough time. Not enough time. Not enough time. This is a theme that we heard repeatedly. And that lack of time keeps showing up in the work. This is a quotation from a CDCI staff member this October 2023. I quote, "There are a lot of moving parts. The accessibility part is not always my priority. What will you try next?" Finally, we asked staff to share a few specific plans for incorporating more accessibility into their work this year. On this slide, we have a graphic of a clipboard with 4 bullet points showing different responses. The bullet points read, reduce complex language in reports and emails, develop accessible video lessons, translating more documents for families and schools, and attend more workshops. Our next steps. We consider accessibility to be a work in progress, and we are continuing to work on it as part of our commitment to help create more inclusive communities. Our next steps as a center are a new round of accessibility workshops as part of this year's professional development offerings. We are planning to offer sessions on plain language, again, inclusive languages, inclusive communities, and accessible events. We're hoping that we will be able to turn some of our workshops into offerings for the larger university, continue to practice using strategies and create safe spaces for staff to feel comfortable trying new things. And we're also planning on auditing ourselves to look more objectively at the accessibility of our content. Let's talk about it. This is where we would like to conclude sharing the example from our center and invite you to pause and reflect on what might be happening at your center. Earlier, we asked you to start thinking about the accessibility work that is taking place around you. Here, we invite you to stop and think about the strengths, challenges, and opportunities that you see around you. This might make for good discussion with some of your colleagues. 1, what have you tried at your center? 2, what challenges have you faced trying to change attitudes? 3, how do we get more people to use accessible practices? We would like to conclude by repeating the same advice that we offer to our staff at the end of our professional development sessions. Choose one thing to work on at a time. You are encouraged to ask for help. Get feedback from people with disabilities. Don't be afraid to ask for what you need. Overall, resist the freakout. Accessibility is hard, and it's a process. We thank you for your time in watching our presentation, and we would love to continue the conversation. Please feel free to reach out to us via our website and look for ongoing updates as we continue this work.